Cheers! Welcome to my channel. This is a timely tarot oracle reading about random shift. This is a timely reading, so if you're watching it at this time, it is the perfect time for you. Having said that, if it has been a while since I posted this, what was going on in your life back then? That might give you further clarity as to your situation now. This is also a timely reading. General or collective reading, so just take what works for you and leave the rest. We do have, from the tarot, I did a quick meditation, and the card for the underlying energy for this reading is the Seven of Cups. And each of these cups has a different gift in them. This is talking about being able to turn these gifts and what's inside each cup. Is it a gift or is it a curse kind of energy? And that's what the cloud is are you going to turn this into a positive or a negative? Every coin has two sides. Every tail has two sides or more sometimes. And so this energy is talking about a gift of the cups, but you, like a black hole, you're sucking all this energy in. All these opportunities are available to you. But like a black hole, you have to put your own spin on it to turn it into something desirable. So we do have beauty in one cup, and beauty can be a curse, or it could be if you become very conceited, and it can also be a blessing if you just love, beauty. And then we have the shrouded figure. And the shrouded figure is talking about illusions. And are those negative or are those positive? Those could be illusions we hold about ourselves or others. The snake is talking about the snake can be interpreted as a yellow-bellied creature, crawling through the grass. And it can also be representing someone who's shedding their skin, of what they no longer want to keep, so they can make room for the new. And we have the castle. A castle can represent a beautiful home, something you've worked toward, safety, and it also can represent total isolation. If you've noticed, the castles usually are way up high somewhere on their own, and so sometimes this can talk about isolation. We do have the flowers as well in one cup, and the flowers can represent inner beauty, or it can represent, wanting to capture outer beauty, and like in a negative way, like just wanting to, the only thing that matters is how things look on the outside, not how the beauty of the inside. And we have the laurel, and a laurel wreath actually represents victory, and at the same time it can represent death. They're quite often put on coffins. And we do have the energy of the dragon, and the dragon can represent a powerful energy, and it can also in a negative or positive way, and good luck or bad luck depending on which way that you look at it. So it's talking about which side of the coin are you looking at, heads or tails. And then we have the hangman. And this is in my oracle, Tales from the Vector. This is courtesy of the Intergalactic Federation of Light. And the dragonflies, they do represent life on the wing, so adaptability. The very first helicopters were designed by watching the motion, and they were engineered off the way that the dragonfly moves. Dragonflies can go straight up or down, they can hover, and they can also do a lot of very creative aerial maneuvers. And so this is about adaptability of life on the wing, being able to adapt to change quickly, and being able to see the opportunities to be able to, move towards opportunity rather than being stuck in the same old way. The hangman traditionally hangs from the tree of knowledge, and he hangs upside down so that he can gain a better perspective. He wants to look at things from all different angles, perspectives, before he takes action. And the dragonfly in this oracle, she's sitting on the energy of a echinacea flower. and doing a handstand. And so this energy can be very healing. Sometimes we need to take time to just, go within and be like the hangman and just hang out with ourselves and look at things from all angles. And sometimes it can talk about, being stuck. And sometimes it can even be talk about being stuck with people that that we're hanging around with people that are keeping us stuck. So that is the underlying energy for this reading, is the energy of adaptability and seeing both sides of the story, two sides of the coin, being able to, make a move when you need to. But at the same time, taking the time also to figure out what you want to do if you don't know what to do. Taking the time to look at things from all angles. And we have the Two of Pentacles. Pentacles in tarot represent the element of earth. And so this is about health, wealth, and happiness in the third dimensional world. And it's talking about juggling, and sometimes this can be talking about multitasking. So multitasking is a wonderful skill to have, but you want to be careful that you don't multitask to the point where, like where you get stuck, where you're just like in a loop of being busy. In the background here we have this small ship on a small wave, and then it gets gradually bigger and bigger until we have a large ship on a large wave. And this is saying sometimes you can get caught in a loop of busyness, and you end up having more quality than quantity work, and then you end up having to do things twice, so it defeats the purpose. This is also saying that you might be juggling your domestic life, your life at home, and your public life, and maybe the differences in between those two, the incongruencies. And it also is talking about, juggle your options, but never ever juggle your morals. We have the Nine of Swords. Nine of Swords energy can be talking about being stuck, caught in a rut. This can be an energy of like, sometimes it can represent a never-ending nightmare, like something that you just can't resolve, no matter how much you try to do it. It just keeps on, like it shows up the next day and the day after that, like Groundhog Day. But a lot of the time, people don't realize that it seems like it's repeating exactly in the same way. But, when I went to school, we were taught that the sun is in the center and then all of the planets go in perfect circles around. And I've seen that still on the internet. I don't know if they still teach it that way. But the truth of the matter is that although it seems like the earth is turning, but we feel like it's sitting still. So the whole universe is moving, and it's spinning and it's spiraling, and it's never ever ever in the same place at the same time. So it's really actually impossible to have like that Groundhog Day where it's exactly the same day after day. Your routine may be the same, but you're never the same person in the same place, because change is always happening. So, when you realize, hey, maybe all you need to do is change your daily routine, especially if you're bored and you're stuck in some sort of energy out of because sometimes this is not so much a nightmare of energy coming towards you, but it's just one that you create and you're bored with your life. Like it's crushing boredom. And also sometimes this card can represent enlightenment. From being able to look at both sides of the coin, both sides of the situation. Which way are you going to spin it? And it's talking about maybe having been meditating and praying and asking for guidance from the Most High in the universe. And this sometimes can represent someone waking up in the wee hours, and the Holy Spirit maybe comes upon you, and it's like you have this revelation, an aha moment where you're like, aha, I have it. I know exactly what to do. And you're trying to remember these consistent steps of action. And sometimes this can happen in your dreams. And then this could be you trying to remember your dream, so that you can take these consistent steps of action to get out of this stuck energy. And we have the quilt on the bed here has cosmic symbols on it. And this is saying that the universe does have you covered. but you're going to have to get out of your comfort zone and take some sort of action. The universe wants us to, put some of our own energy and action into things. And then we have this energy of the tower. And the tower is talking about a reality check. So, the universe will tell us, hey, you might want to take a look at that. But we don't really hear it. We don't do anything about it. And so then the universe gives us the frying pan treatment, whack over the head with the frying pan. And you're like, hey, why did you do that? That hurt. What was that for? And the universe is saying, listen, pay attention. There's something you really, really need to look at here. And you're not looking at it. And if you think that hurts, it's going to get way worse. And whack, then the 2x4 comes. You still don't listen. You still don't do anything about the problem, and you don't look into it. And then boom, the lightning eventually hits your tower. Now the castle's on fire, and now you're going to have to rebuild this. And so this can talk about if you nip things in the bud, sometimes you can avoid the tower, sometimes you can't. Sometimes there's no avoiding the tower. One person is falling out of this tower and they're totally shocked. And the other one is like, oh, I knew I should have done something about this. So it's kind of this energy of a reality check. And the thing about the tower is it's uncomfortable for everybody. It's just not any fun. The tower, when the tower hits, this has to be rebuilt, and probably from the ground up. So it's kind of like, oh, I should have taken care of this sooner. But the reality check, if you've been on the right side of the law and you've been on spiritual and physical law, like the laws of the land sort of energy, being a good person, you're going to, eventually look at the reality check and say, wow, it was really, really hard, but it was the best thing that happened to me in some ways, because I really needed to change my ways there, or I really needed that reality check. If you were on the wrong side of the law, it could be the same, but you're probably going to have a lot more consequences to suffer because of it. And then we have the energy of the Two of Wands. And the Two of Wands is like when someone's standing at the turret of the castle, right before this happens, apparently. And or maybe after, or thinking about rebuilding. It could be that type of energy. He could be standing on just a platform where his castle used to be for, he's looking out. He has the world in his hands now. So I feel this was before the tower happened. And it's kind of like not really wanting to see what's really going on. But he recognizes, or maybe he doesn't, that he's a big fish in a little pond. Maybe he comes from a small village, like of 5,000 people, say. And sometimes I feel like this energy can represent an entrepreneur. We have the energy of the element of fire here, the wand, and the wands are made of wood, and they fuel the fire. So this is talking about taking passionate action. And quite often this energy can be talking about, with a business, maybe taking it to the next level, maybe franchising or moving even your location, or adding a location across seas, that type of energy, because we've got this going global, that type of energy. Sometimes this could be about taking passionate action. Just because you want to, maybe you decided, hey, if I'm going to rebuild, I'm not doing it here, I'm going to do it somewhere else. And it sometimes also can be talking about maybe wanting to start a family with someone, and maybe thinking, oh, well, it's a lucky thing I got out of this situation, because maybe you've met someone that is making you want to expand your horizons and maybe, really settle down this time and have a family. So it's talking about having a strong foundation, but not having a whole lot of extra. And yeah, after a tower, sometimes we have to start at the beginning again. But it's saying you do have a strong foundation now. This card is actually the Pentacles. As I said, they are about lifestyle. You could have all the money in the world and still not be living the lifestyle that you want. So this is about having this card is actually about the 3 levels of making money. And there's like the money that's safe money. Both feet are on a coin. It's a pretty strong foundation. You have enough to pay your bills and meet your obligations, but you don't have a whole lot left over for your heart's desires or your crowning glory. And so it's saying, similar to this energy and even this energy here, all of it really is saying you might be wanting to, you might have been playing small in the past, or you might have been sold short in some way. And also it's talking about leaving your comfort zone, like leaving the city, leaving where you're at, leaving, getting out of bed so that you can move forward and go after what you truly in your heart want, and also your crowning glory, like your actual destiny, like just really going for it. And we have the energy of the Page of Pentacles. Page of Pentacles is representing information, communication coming in regarding this Pentacle situation. So this is talking sometimes when the pages would work for the king and the queen around the age of 7 to 14, which may seem really young, but back then you have to remember that the lifestyle, or I mean the length of their life was about half of, life expectancy was about half of what it is now. So they would start very young working, and this would be a real coup if they got a position at the palace, because they, like, he's dressed in finery and he's going to be educated and learn, you know, from being around the people at the palace. He's going to learn about how the elite do things. This would be a real coup for him and his family, a much better position than a lot of other people that were, you know, would have been not chosen for this. So the page, he would be given more responsibility as he grew older. And when he became 21, and if he could afford a horse, he might even be considered for knighthood. So the information coming in, the communication coming in is talking about, it could be talking about someone that, you know, under the, like from under, that it was about something that happened with you under the age of being an adult, like, you know, under the age of 21, maybe from elementary school or something in high school, or maybe when you were starting college, university, or starting to be moving out into the workforce. That could be the time frame when this energy, what this energy information is talking about. Or it could be or the people that you were hanging around with, you know, back then. You know, this would imply, of course, family and friends from elementary school, from high school, people that you met in college that you were hanging around then. You might even still know some of them, you know, and of course, probably you still know your family. But this is talking about that, you know, that might give you an idea what the information is about. Also, you know, just keeping in mind that all of the figures in tarot are archetypes, so they're not gender specific. So this could be, in the old days, this would always be a male for sure, but this could now be a female, and the communication would have always been delivered in person because that was their only option, you know, with a note or a sealed, you know, document. That they would be delivered to whoever, and then they would answer and they would have to take it back. These days, we could have communication coming in so many ways. So this could represent a phone call, a text message, something that comes in the post. It could be documents. It could be, you know, forms of some sort. Applications. This could represent you being online and you message or get messaged by someone on social media, or you see something on social media and it's like a video or whatever, and it gives you the information you need. So it can come in many ways like that. You might even attend an event and then run into someone, and then it would be more likely that's how you would be. You'd have to actually leave the house to get the information. So not just waiting for someone to knock on your door. Hi, I'm the Page of Pentacles, and here's some information for you. So again, the universe wants you to put your energy into it. And it's also a really good idea, especially when it comes to this pentacle energy, because it represents business and, you know, matters of the earth, that you would be, you know, keeping an eye on what's happening at the top of the pyramid. what's happening with the leaders of the world, what's happening in the economy, what's happening, like, what are people in business, what are the new trends. You can learn a lot just from, 5 minutes a day. Just check in, make sure that you have some idea of what, the trends are, what's happening around you. It can be very beneficial in giving you information about business and moving forward. And we have the sun. And so the sun is coming in and saying, see, this is exactly like this energy of the enlightenment that you received. The sun is the happiest card in the deck. This represents God's energy. It's saying you're on your destined path. You're working towards that. This is you as a young child, a child of God. This heavy banner, this child is on this pony, and there's no saddle, no reins, totally free, no fear here whatsoever. And he's carrying this heavy banner with total ease, because this is representing his destined path, being on a happy path, being a happy child of God. With the sunflowers, they turn to the warmth of the sun, and the sun shines enlightenment on that when the sun energy shows up in a reading, it's saying that there's going to be a happy outcome in this reading, and also that the truth is probably going to be revealed in some ways about something, maybe some sort of information that you need so that you can really move forward in a strong way. And we have the Five of Swords. So the Five of Swords, it's sitting on this sword energy. And I feel like this is talking, this is outer and inner conflict. You may have been faced with some outer conflict here, which caused this Tower energy and makes you want to move on and go do something different. It could have also caused you to miss out on opportunities, keeping you stuck in your energy. This is cutthroat energy coming towards you it's outside conflict coming towards you. And this is you standing up for yourself. And there's two people that have already, you had to fight, and they laid down their swords. Because once this truth is shone on the situation and you start to understand what you really want, I feel like it's talking quite a bit about that, like letting go of the past and, realizing that there's two sides to every coin. You could be the most beautiful person in the world, but if you have a big ego because of it, that your inner beauty is not going to be able to shine out. You're going to just be relying on that outer beauty. It's that energy, seeing both sides of a story, And so this is talking about, standing up for yourself, but also taking a look at the inner conflict that you might have within. Of course, if you have a lot of cutthroat energy, and this is someone who's willing to risk everything to have what you have, this energy can be talking about you having an inner battle of some sort. So sometimes this represents three versions of you, and the three different versions of your mind, basically your subconscious mind that is formed by the time usually around your 6 or 7 years of age. And so that could be going back to this energy. It's sitting right on this energy here. Perhaps there was something that happened. Our subconscious mind is formed by the time we're about 6 or 7, but we really usually don't have very much of a memory of what happened to us until we're around kindergarten age, and particularly when you're a baby. Yet, when you're a baby, babies are like sponges. Just think about how much a baby learns in the first year alone. And a baby is like a sponge absorbing their environment. And, the people that are in charge of your care, it's their environment that we absorb. And so it's their thoughts. We don't really remember much. We have to say, well, what was I like when I was little? When I was 2? And sorry, my cat has happy feet and she's purring. So are you purring? Yeah. Oh, you're a happy kitty cat. Cat's purr actually raises the vibration and can lower blood pressure. I figured we could all use a little bit of that. My cat, her name is Stella. She loves the energy of the readings. She's so silly. So this is talking about, yeah, that subconscious mind. And you know, when you think about it, your subconscious mind is the first one that pops up when we get like stressed out. And that energy really isn't the most reliable. That part of you, that's really the thoughts of the people who are in charge of you when you were a little kid, and now you're an adult. So we also have an unconscious mind, and that is, you know, your spiritual needs. So the unconscious mind, you know, a lot of people will agree, yes, I'm a human being and I have a soul. But from the soul's perspective, you are a soul traveling in a human body as your vehicle to navigate the earth. All this noise, all of a sudden, all these interruptions, it's interesting. Yeah, I almost feel like that, like outer conflict breeds inner conflict. And then, of course, inner conflict then attracts more outer conflict. And so that all of a sudden, like I'm doing this reading and it's feeling really soft and everything. And the cat is like really like, you know, annoyingly happy and getting in my way here a little bit. And there's sirens and then there's beeping from the timer and that I forgot to turn off. And it's like that type of energy. So this is talking about, you know, your subconscious and your unconscious mind. If your unconscious mind, if your spiritual needs are not being met, your unconscious mind will start arguing with your subconscious and your conscious mind. And then you have this inner conflict, this noise in your head, like all these distractions. So this is talking, your conscious mind, he has a handle on that. So it's, you know, your conscious mind is, you can remember exactly what happened. You can relate the story. You have memory of it. So when these three are working together and you plug them into your authentic desires, then you're going after your heart's desires. And that's a whole different matter. That's when the real happiness comes in. And so this can be talking about something that occurred, you know, in this time frame. Or sometimes this can represent an energy of someone that you haven't, that you know, but you haven't seen them since, you know, for 7 years, 14 years, or 21 years, you know. But it's definitely, because it's sitting right on this sword energy, but it's saying there's a happy outcome with this when this information comes in. Something is shifting here. And then we have, oh, a lover's coming in. Well, there we have it. And the sun is shining on this. So this is talking, God saying you deserve to have love in your life. This didn't work out here, but God's going to send you someone. This is saying keep an open mind. Because when God sends us someone, it's usually not someone of our regular type. And you might be saying, well, I like my type. And God's saying, yeah, but that's why you're always disappointed. So this is, it's just saying, the cloud in between says this is probably someone that is going to be quite different from you, or different from the usual type that you would normally date. But keep an open mind. And also, sometimes this can represent that it's someone you have never met, or it's someone that you've met from the past and you haven't seen for a long time, and maybe and someone you know, but it wouldn't be someone you've already had a disruptive relationship with. This is someone new coming in as a lover. And then we have this energy of, yeah, it's so interesting. When I was I was just doing like a quick 5-minute meditation, and this card came in, and I was thinking about it, and it's talking like this is about passionate action. Sometimes this can actually talk about, you know, this is this passion coming towards you, but this is talking about conception as well. This can actually talk about conceiving a child. So with the lover's energy, be careful with that if you're not wanting to do that at this time. But this can, like, you see how these people are like, this fighting energy is standing here. This is outer conflict of the people directing their thoughts and their actions towards this relationship. They don't want this to happen for some reason. And that could be for, you know, you might have an idea of what that's about. And then this is also talking about the actions that you and this new lover are taking together to counteract that, because you're going to be happy whether these guys want it or not. That's the energy that's coming in. So this, just take it how, which part of that works for you. You might have an understanding of what this is, because here we have like all these different gifts, right? And it depends on which way you look at them. Like, is it which side of the coin, heads or tails? which action are you going to take? And you have this being directed to you, and this is you launching something. I feel like, I don't even think after you meet this lover, you really could care less about this energy. You're launching a new project, and you've hung around long enough. These people have caused you to be in stuck energy for a while now, and it is beneficial in some ways. You could look at it, both sides, but now it's time to take action. This energy is talking about new action coming in. And we have, so from the bottom to the top and back down again, we have someone juggling lifestyles and possibly morals here, causing this this energy in a tower. And then if this isn't about love, sometimes the choice, the Lover's card can represent, when tarot first started, this card was more representing about the choices of the people that you have in your inner circle, and who you choose to have in that inner circle. So, if it's not about that kind of love for you, it might be love of something you love to do or something you love to be, business partners, that type of thing. So this is about, multitasking. You're really busy and maybe juggling, just saying don't juggle your morals. But I think someone did juggle their morals here and cause this tower and all of this energy. But God is saying you will be happy after this, because this was cutthroat energy being directed towards you to stop you from having this energy, which would put you into a real strong place of, maybe this is the competition, and this is like, hey, we got to slow them down because they're going to kick our butt. So here, taking action here with their thoughts and maybe some actions to stop you from coming together with this person. This is like, if God sends in a divine partner, it's a power couple. And so then you're going to be even more, you're going to be even more powerful. And so this is talking about and going after your heart's desires and your crown and glory, and that you deserve to do so. And it's talking, you might be changing location in some way, because this blew up anyway. This may be talking about that energy. And just looking at the anatomy of this and me saying this blew up anyway, there could have been in a third-party relationship here. If someone was juggling, there could have been a baby that was conceived. And that would be outside of the couple. So I feel like that energy, whoever this involved, they're moving on to their own way of being, and you're moving on to this. So I feel like the inner and outer conflict are going to ease off. If you have a coin and you spin it, it only can stay on edge for so long, right? And then eventually it's going to fall one way or the other. So I feel like it's talking about eventually people have to make choices of what they're going to do. So this is, I'm going to clarify this. If you're leaving the reading here, thank you for your time, your energy, your likes, your comments, all of that good stuff, your subscribes. It really does empower me to build my channel. I'm going to clarify with the oracle cards now, and the numbers on these cards represent the energy of, or the numbers of the cards represent the paintings as they are ordered in the gallery on my website, talesfromthevector.com. So I will put them in the description box below so that you'll know which ones to look for. If you want to go there, the information will be there. So intent is a karmic space that we can get to, or get caught up in, and it's the road to hell is paved with good intentions and sometimes with negative ones. But I feel like it's really talking about, this energy here of two sides to every story, two sides to the coin, having to eventually, like, someone could have good intentions, but the coin falls the wrong way, fortune goes the other way, or that type of energy. So it's talking about, putting your own spin on it, not someone else's. And then we have the battle star energy, which is talking about the having the courage to really face, okay, what happened here? What do I need to do differently? What was my part? What could I, could I do things differently the next cycle around? Having the courage to really look at yourself, see how, what, if you're in a relationship, it takes two. So like, again, it's talking about, that energy of two sides to every story, two sides to every coin. So it's talking about, being in this energy that you have to have the courage to really look at yourself so that you can make better choices the next time around. That's the whole point. And sometimes we have expectations, and expectations will always create limitations because, you might be saying, okay, my expectation is that I'm going to make $100,000 this year. And the universe says, oh, 100,000, I was going to give you $1 million. But I guess if you only want 1,000 or 100,000, okay, that's what it'll be. And you're like, no, no, no. You may have noticed that if there's a couple zeros, before the decimal point when it comes to coin, it usually is a lot better. So this is talking about that energy, like set your intentions, your expectation, anticipate a strong future, but don't want to expect this new love or whatever, this new adventure to come in a specific way. It could be, in a way that you're not used to. And so take a look at it from both sides, don't judge it before looking at it from all perspectives. And then we have the High Priestess energy, which is saying the High Priestess is very intuitive, and it's talking about using your intuition as well as your logic. If you want creative solutions, you need to use both. And then we have dissemination of information. When there's an elephant in the room, and you don't want to see it. And so that's the energy here. And we all need reality checks sometimes. That's just the way life is. Unfortunately, sometimes we can nip it in the bud, and sometimes we got to play it out. It's that type of thing. So this is when there's, believing in your own press. And that's kind of having an expectation again. When people are trying to motivate other people, quite often they'll say, believe in yourself. But a lot of people have limiting beliefs about themselves. Oh, I'm only one person. What can I do? I'm not good at math. I'm not good at, there's no way that I could do that. It's that type of energy. In that case, you don't want to believe in yourself. You want to have faith in God's plan and recognize that you need to look at both sides of it. And so that you can have an open mind to whatever's coming your way. And it looks like there could be some abuse of power was here. This is talking about this energy here. So, one of the anyone can fall into abuse of power. And like one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is, okay, someone's abusing your power or abusing their power, and it's affecting your life in a negative way. When you start, when you don't make a decision, when you the coin stays on edge forever, it's got to fall one way or the other. You have to come to a decision at some point and say, that I'm going to have the courage to walk away, or I'm going to have the courage to do something different. I'm going to have the courage to look at both sides of this story so that I can learn from it and get out of this stuck energy and move forward to what I really, really want here. And that's the shooting star. Having a good attitude is a plus. So the shooting star energy, you wish upon a star, but if you just sit there, and then you're sitting there and you're sitting there and you're like, nothing's happening. Well, maybe you need to get up and take action. That's, again, this whole reading is about that. Taking the time to really take a look at things, to heal, do what you need to do, but at the same time, not getting stuck for too long in the old energy, because it will just be holding you back. And especially if it's like, energy that's not benefiting you. It's time to move forward. It can be really challenging. It's easier said than done sometimes, so that's for sure. So we have to have a good attitude about it to be able to do it. And sometimes we catch that first little whisper from the universe, and sometimes it takes the 2x4, and sometimes it takes the tower. So it's a matter of how much attention you're paying at that time. All right, I do thank you for your time and your energy. This has been a really good reading. It has a lot of good advice. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. And thank you so much for your likes, your comments, shares, and subscribes. I'm truly honored when you do subscribe. I will be back with another reading about random shift for you soon. Bye for now.